Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, January 14th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Matty Robb in the house, ready to break down the Tuesday NHL card. Huge slate, huge day for the show, of course. We've got our daily show right now, breaking down every game as always, and our live betcast tonight, first one of 2025, coming your way at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And our first betcast of the year is our first Patreon-exclusive live betcast of the season. So to join us on this betcast tonight, the only way to tune in and the only way to be on the stream, $10 per month. Make sure you get to the page. Make sure you sign up, patreon.com/iceguys. And don't you dare miss our first live betcast of the season tonight, Patreon exclusive. So get on over to that site, sign up, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. We're looking forward to it. Always fun, and looking forward to this being our first live betcast of the new year. Matt, it's good to have you back. The last time you were on, I believe, was at the end of the year. I think it was the New Year's Eve show, if I'm not mistaken, on December 31st. So it's actually been a couple of weeks. Kudos. I watched both, and I haven't seen a Matt Robinson Reno game start to finish until those two games against FDNY. I didn't know FDNY invited Marty Brodeur to play for them in goal that weekend. That Nick Battaglia, man, holy shit. Like, especially in the second game, he was just incredible. Like, you guys actually played a pretty solid game, especially the second one. And he's just robbing you blind, left and right, million chances. He was spectacular. But I know you were away last week in Florida, not your favorite state, to say the least. Got a little under the weather. But how's things been in the world of Matt Robinson here these last couple of weeks?
It's been good. A lot of travel between the new job. There's multiple trade shows going on, Ice Raiders games, holidays. I got roller hockey nationals in Southern California this weekend. So it's been pretty nonstop. I feel like I've been home less than I've been away, which is always a bummer for me. But it's another, 3-4 weeks of kind of a lot of on the road time. I've got a couple trade shows, one in Nashville, one in Vegas. We've got a trip to Dallas as a team here. The Reno team, we're going to play a team out of the Dallas area in February, and then we will actually go to FDNY in March. So between now and March, it's a pretty hectic schedule, but I do enjoy traveling. It's nice to get out, do different things. So and a lot of it's hockey related that's not work related. So always enjoy that. So but it's been good. It's been good. Yeah, it was a bit under the weather last week. Hopefully, that's behind me. I'm definitely feeling better, but I know this time of year everyone's off and on sick, and especially when you're traveling and sitting next to people on flights and this and that, it's pretty tough to stay healthy. So we'll see how the next few weeks go, but hopefully the worst is behind me.
Yeah. Hello, cold and flu season. That's what it is. That's where we're at right now at this time of year here in the middle of January. We got a huge card, so I'm just going to say brief statements on last night. It was a very, very short card, of course. Credit to the Flyers. Big win for them, coming back, beating the Florida Panthers 4-3, declining those Florida Panthers a little bit. And just what I said yesterday about why I was hesitant to take Florida, even off the loss against Boston on Saturday. They're kind of going through, look, this is a grind of the season, grinding part of the season, especially for a lot of the better teams. Like, this is the dog days. You're just trying to get through it, and there's going to be games where you turn the ignition, and the motor's just not running. And you're going to have that even for some of the best teams. And Florida now losing last night to Philadelphia, but credit to the Flyers. It was a solid game, especially after falling behind so quickly, 2-0 in the first period. To come back and win that game was very impressive on their part. Unfortunately, Alex, your Chicago Blackhawks, not so impressive last night. Lost to the Calgary Flames. But what was impressive, and I know what made us all the happiest, and I'm sure it wiped away some of the disappointment of the loss, was the best damn streak in hockey, prolonging for another night. 11 straight overs in the first period now for the Chicago Blackhawks. It was a dual best bet from Alex and I on the show yesterday, the first period over with Hawks and Flames. I mean, blinking, it was 1-1 in the first 5 minutes there. So that was great to see that. And by the way, in the Philly game, Morgan Frost Philadelphia plus 450, cashing one of the 2 bargain bin specials that I gave out on the show yesterday. So that was great to see. Seth Jones, the game totally changed on the Seth Jones gaff in the neutral zone. Turning that puck, it was one of the worst turnovers you'll see, and he was getting excoriated by Blackhawks fans after that turnover because Bedard got his 100th point of his career. Congratulations to him to get him right back in the game, at least at 4-2. At least at that time, you have a puncher's chance. And then, I don't know, Seth Jones is one of the most horrible turnovers you'll see in the neutral zone, and a shorty the other way for the Calgary Flames, 5-2, and that pretty much put an end to the momentum. So just a difficult night for Seth Jones, difficult season for him, especially since he's been back from the injury. Boy, oh boy, he's just not played all that well on the blue line. And then LA Edmonton Oilers with a 1-0 shutout win over the Kings last night. Credit to them. Kings get blanked, which means Kings are going to be in the system play the next time they're in action. Alex, thoughts on Monday?
Yeah, we're talking about, obviously, like I said, the best trend right now in hockey and in betting is the first period over with the Hawks, and it's an unfortunate way to cash it, of course, when you have what seems to be a close game for a little bit early in the contest, and Calgary absolutely runs away with it 3-1 after 20 minutes, and then 5-2 at the win. Like you said, Seth Jones making that mistake, and he's just had some very just tough moments as a Hawk. He's had some bright shining moments at times, but way more gaffes and way more errors than pluses so far, and that's just another one to add to the list. But like I said, keep on cashing with the trend. So hopefully Thursday will be the next time that we will be looking to keep that momentum going, of course, with that first period over trend. That was the biggest thing for me. But that was kind of the biggest game that I watched last night. I did catch a little bit of Philly and Florida. I thought it was interesting. I had the draw with ended up grabbing the draw midway with that game, and I had the draw with LA Edmonton. Both of them fall a little bit short, but they were close enough, and we're starting to see these games get tighter and tighter in the third periods. Even if, like I said, we see kind of slow starts in the first, explosion in the second. But if it's a tie game heading into that third period, or any point in that third period, that's when we start seeing things get a little bit tighter offensively, and that's why we call this draw season.
No doubt. And there we go. LJ from H-Town, one of our Pub Sports Radio family members in the chat, mentioning, too, the Blackhawks. It's not just 11 straight. Go back further. It's actually 16-3 now in the last 19 games for the first period over for Chicago. Let's see if I get this right. Maddie, was last night take a little bit of a breather from watching and betting much NHL for you? Sometimes it is on these short Monday cards.
Yeah. The only bet I had was the first period over in the Blackhawks game. I couldn't, go against a 10 in a row run. So I had to throw that in there. But outside of that, I watched some football, short card. But yeah, typically Mondays, especially after a good weekend of hockey, there were more games on Sunday than some weeks. You had all the NFL action going on. So Monday, is like a catch up at work day. By the end of the day, I just want to watch some Netflix or whatever and get to bed early. So not a lot, but I think we've got 13 games tonight. So hopefully we get some big ones here tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it's lucky number 13 as far as the fact that it's 13 games here on Tuesday, and it's a lucky night here on this show. The Betcast, can't wait for it. It's going to be a great card to really dive into. So let's get into it. We'll begin with San Jose and Detroit. Hottest team in the NHL right now might be the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit minus 190, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Is this a trap spot for the Detroit Red Wings, though? That's the question you have to ask yourself, because they've actually had a tough time with San Jose. San Jose's given them some tough games, some grief in the last few head-to-head meetings. This is now San Jose, though, catching Detroit at a time when obviously everything's firing on all cylinders for them. The power play's been great. Their best players are playing like it. Who isn't playing great as far as Dylan Larkin's on a roll? Kane, DeBrincat have been going strong. Lucas Raymond, they're getting other players chipping in. So, like I said, you like what you're seeing here from this Detroit team. 7 straight wins for them going into this game. 3 straight losses for San Jose. We'll see how they fare here, if they can bounce back starting what is a lengthy East Coast road trip for this Sharks team. And then we get a beautiful scene coming our way, of course, when we see the starting goalie confirmations here, that Alexander Georgiev will get the start in net here for the San Jose Sharks. And yeah, he finally had a better outing the last time we saw him in net for the San Jose Sharks was a 2-1 loss to the Utah Hockey Club. He certainly played okay in that game. But you can name on maybe one finger or one hand how many times we've seen him play back-to-back strong games in net for the San Jose Sharks. We're going to roll back with and Husso, I should point out, is in net for Detroit. He hasn't played in a while. Obviously, Lyon is still on IR. They're not going with Talbot tonight, giving him a rest. It's Ville Husso time for Detroit. I don't trust him still. Hasn't had a great season. So we'll see how he fares here, but the numbers still aren't that great, and he hasn't played in a very long time. 3.46 goals against, 877 save percentage. We haven't seen him in a game since December the 14th. So we'll see how he plays here in this one. He's brought up, obviously, from Grand Rapids recently since Lyon's been out. But again, hasn't had a great season. And like I said, certainly not trusting him at minus 190. But I do trust Detroit to score against Georgiev, the sieve that he is, and we don't trust him to have 2 good games in a row. So I'm back on Detroit team total over 3.5. I'm actually also on San Jose team total over 2.5. A rare game where I'm taking both teams over their team total, and we're not stopping there either. We're taking first period over, full game over, bifecta here in this game. Detroit's been a great first period over trending team lately. Obviously, since McClellan, we've talked about how all their games have been, for the most part, going over in the first period and the full game. So there you go. Both teams over their team total and the over bifecta for me. Alex, San Jose, Detroit.
All right, so we're doing the over bifecta, but of course, because it's a betcast night, we're going to go half of our stake pregame, the other half in game. But I'm also going Detroit Red Wings first period puck line. We got plus 134 at FanDuel. And I'm also going with the first period correct score stat. Now, we're playing this small. If you guys want to jump in with this for the betcast purposes and have this tonight all as a group. Detroit Red Wings 1-0 after 20 plus 410. Red Wings 2-0 plus 950. Red Wings 2-1 plus 1200. So I will have those 3 stacked along with that first period puck line and the over by 5.
I'm gonna take Detroit first period team total, not the puck line though, and there's a reason for that. I don't trust Husso. I just don't. I don't like what I've seen from him this, and I'm worried that it's San Jose gets on the board and it's something like 2-1 or 2-2 or 1-1, something like that. That's the only reason I wouldn't take it. But yes, I don't blame anyone for riding the trend. I mean, it's unbelievable what we've seen here. 2 wins, 19 losses, 4 ties in the first period for teams starting Alexander Georgiev in net. I mean, which is just unheard of. That's unbelievable when you think of it. 2 wins, 19 losses, 4 ties in the first period for teams with Georgiev in net. That's Colorado and San Jose combined this season.
Here's an alternate look at the correct scores if you're not comfortable about Husso. You could go each tie 1-1 and 2-2. Bring those prices up. You got $550 for 1-1, $3,500 for 2-2, and then go with that 12-1 for the Red Wings 2-1. So that's a way you can kind of shift if you aren't trusting that Husso will, at least shut the door down and he might give up at least 1 goal. So.
Yeah, Larkin, DeBrincat, Kane, Raymond, take your pick as far as goal props. Berggren and Marco Kasper, who I've talked about, might be worth a look. On San Jose, here's one down the board. Just because he's a former Red Wing defenseman, I'm going to put a couple bucks on old Jake Wallman for the San Jose Sharks. Look, he's playing first power play unit for them right now as well. Jake Wallman, the former Red Wing, going back to Detroit. Why not? A couple bucks on that. Matt, what do you think here? San Jose, Detroit.
Yeah, I'm pretty aligned with you guys. I like goals in this game. I'm pretty heavy on Detroit team total over 3.5. I think that's a great look. I actually got in when it was plus 105. I think it's even now, last I checked. But this is also a good opportunity for an SGP. Obviously not if it's 1-0 after the first, but if we happen to get to 2-1 after the first, then it should sail over that 5.5. So that might be worth a look. Also another bet or another game that, as Alex mentioned, would be good to look at live. If you get a couple minutes of pace but no goals, then I'll be jumping on overs even heavier. So today, as usual, on a betcast day, little lighter as far as units putting on bets and things like that, because there will be a lot of live action. So, but this one, total 5.5 for me. It's too low to not bet pregame as well, and then hopefully we get a better price when the game comes.
Yeah, especially again with the Detroit recent overrun under Todd McClellan. in this great run of theirs. I think that's for this Detroit team. I think it's something along the lines of 7-1 full game over and 6-2 first period over is what we're looking at since McClellan's been there. So it's been an impressive run for the Red Wings in first period and full game overs. And then you got these two massive question marks playing in net for their respective teams tonight. And it's a little peculiar that this totals 5.5, I must admit.
Rich H mentioned in the chat over 2.5 in the first period. This might be one of those games where you look at a BetMGM and look at a ladder situation in the first period as well. So we can go over 1.5, over 2, over 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. It could be one of those
good betcast game.
No doubt. It's definitely a good game to have, certainly for the live betcast tonight. Believe it or not, looking forward more to San Jose, Detroit than you might think. This is definitely one of the games of the night. Definitely looking forward to this one. Dallas and Toronto. We've got the Stars -130, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Dallas Stars just can't beat Toronto. It's really unbelievable. 7 straight wins for the Toronto Maple Leafs, rather, over the Dallas Stars. They beat them last year, or earlier this season, I should say, in Dallas. It was a game where I thought the Stars were actually carrying the play. There was a huge save made by Joe Wall on, I believe, a Hintz breakaway or something, and then Toronto came down and scored and just ripped the momentum right away, and Toronto was basically in cruise control the rest of the way of that 5-3 victory over the Dallas Stars. Again, 7 straight wins for the Leafs over the Stars. I don't go against that kind of a run, so it's Toronto or pass for me. But you have Dallas off a loss to Ottawa Sunday. This is the last leg of the road trip. You don't want to go back home on 2 straight losses if you're the Dallas Stars. I expect a good effort here. This is one where the draw is kind of interesting to me. I could see it maybe lean in that direction. Like I said, and Toronto, look, they're not going to be happy either. I mean, we talk about how Dallas is off the loss to Ottawa. It hasn't been many times where the Leafs have lost 2 in a row this season, but they are off back-to-back setbacks against Carolina and Vancouver. The Vancouver one was really surprising because the Canucks had flight issues coming out of Carolina and came basically into Toronto the morning of the game, and Toronto just couldn't get anything going. I'm on over 5.5 in this game, and here is why. The last meeting went over in Dallas. Jake Ottinger has been, some of his absolute worst games have come against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's hard to explain that, but it's like there is some kind of phobia, that he has when he plays the Toronto Maple. Like, he hasn't had a good start against them, and I can't even remember when. They have lit him up big time in the past, and maybe that happens. Not to mention after the 2 losses and obviously the game against the Vancouver Canucks with the shutout, it's the system play. So we got to take the over by Fecta here. First period over, full game over. Toronto off the shutout loss. But here's another thing, too. Berube, for as much as he's instilled team defense and keeping the puck out of the net in this hockey team, you know what all the talk was in the pregame morning press conference today? We got to start scoring more. Got to generate more. And all the lineup changes for the Leafs going into this game tonight have been focusing on trying to get a little more offense. He said, I love our defensive game right now. Our Vancouver game, we played great defensively, but we got to start generating more. We got to finish our chances. We got to hit the net more. So I think the focus is definitely what can we do to score more goals tonight. So I think that's an over quote from the head coach right there, if I've ever heard one, in Craig Berube. So yeah, system play. Clearly, Toronto off a shutout loss, over by Fecta. I feel Dallas could win this. I just got that gut feel to me, but I'm not going against 7 straight for Toronto in this series, and a goalie in Ottinger that's really struggled against this particular opponent over and over again. What do you think here, Alex? Dallas, Toronto.
So I'm on the over trifecta here. I got plus 186 for that both teams to score in the first period at FanDuel, along with minus 112. 112? No, 116. 112 at FanDuel for the first period over 5.5, minus 120 widely available. And I'm also going to take a shot with Leafs team total over 2.5, minus 142 at BetMGM. Rather than trying to bet Toronto, like I said, because of how this streak is, and Ottinger has struggled, we've seen Toronto at least get 3 or more goals against Ottinger and Dallas. So rather than trying to take a shot there, and even I'm not even going to mess around with the draw. If we look for anything like that, that'll be tonight in the betcast. But I'll go over 2.5 with the Leafs team total, along with the over trifecta.
By the way, you also have Dallas scoring just 3 goals in regulation time in their last 2 games against Ottawa and Montreal on this road trip. So it's not like Pete DeBoer is going to come into this game thrilled with what he's seeing offensively from his team. So there could be a little bit of an onus on them. Hey, let's go here. Got to start scoring. You can't expect to score 2 goals in regulation time or less and expect to win hockey games. Matt, what do you think here? Stars Leafs.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one for me. I do like the over by Fecta. I know it's a system play, but I kind of like it either way. I don't really have a side here. I think Dallas, they were on an 8-game heater, 7-0-1, whatever it was. That ends, which, at the same time of it, being the end of the win streak, it kind of, takes the pressure off. You're back to just playing hockey. You're not thinking about, how long can we make this run. But I think that game in Ottawa, you saw a little bit of fatigue. And yes, they were on the back-to-back. So was Montreal. So was Ottawa. They had played Washington the night before. Dallas did have a later game on Saturday. Montreal had to travel, or Ottawa had to travel. Sorry. So that there's factors both ways. But I think, since they sort of moved the lineup, they've got, Dodonov playing on that top line, and then they've got Duchesne with Ben and Johnston. What you had when you had Sagan and Marchman is you had 3 capable lines. Now you've got 2 heavier lines, but, maybe less depth. So, I think long road trips like this, there's always going to be some fatigue factor. Hopefully they did, take a day off yesterday, probably got to Toronto on Sunday night. So they've just been hanging out. So it shouldn't be a factor of fatigue tonight, but I could see either side of these, either team winning this game. I could see it being close. I could see it being a track meet. So sorry about that. But yeah, so don't really have a side on this one. As far as props, I know, typically my props with Dallas are those top 2 lines, but as mentioned in the chat, Robo's got 4 assists in 8 games in his career against Toronto. Hintz has never scored a point in his 9 games against Toronto. That could change tonight, of course. I saw an article yesterday with Jason Robertson that the whole 4 Nations thing was definitely a distraction and something that was kind of weighing on him. And, it's kind of shown once that roster was announced and he was left off, he's been on an absolute tear. So, should be an interesting game. Obviously, I'll be watching it, but yeah, nothing really on the sides or props for me in this one. But I do like the over by Fecta.
Yeah, about the schedule, Rich H, and you're going to have to really dig for these, but this is, a rested Leaf team, 2nd game in 5 days. Stars 3-4, 4-6, 5-8. That's brutal, man. 5 games in 8 days on a road trip. And this is, of course, already coming from the East Coast to Dallas to start the road trip. So, it is. It's a situation where, yeah, it's a definite rest advantage. Does it play a factor? Does it lead to success for Toronto tonight? We'll see. This is a great prop game. I'm on Dodonov again for Dallas. Love him on that top line with Hintz and Robertson as far as a goal prop here in this one tonight. Certainly interested in that. He scored against Toronto, and his speed down the wing, this is a little bit of a gut feel, but he had a great game against the Leafs, I remember, in Dallas. Sam Steele. Yeah, a little off the radar here. Sam Steele on the 3rd line for Dallas. I think he might be worth a shot here as far as goal props. And then on Toronto, Nick Robertson's a must bet. He's a must bet. He scored against Dallas. He always gets ramped up to play. Jason's got to join the party, though, now. Jason's been pretty quiet in these brother versus brother matchups against Toronto. Let's see if he can maybe join the goal-scoring party here tonight for the Dallas Stars. But certainly I like Nick, and you're getting another great price with him. And the one I really like for Toronto tonight, moving up to the top line to try to get things rolling for the Leafs. It's been mostly Nyes with Matthews and Marner, but the Chief is shaking it up. Shake it up, Cars style. Steven Lorentz is moving up to the top line tonight with Marner and Matthews. Outstanding value for Steven Lorentz. He is going to be the worker bee of that line to play with those 2 tremendously talented, skilled forwards. He's going to bring the grunt work, the forecheck, the physicality, the guy that's going to dig those loose pucks and get involved for this team. And I'm seeing as high as plus 900 for Steven Lorentz at Caesar Sportsbook for a guy playing on the top line tonight with Matthews and Marner. Just amazing price, and one that's you got to take a shot with it at that kind of a price, given the opportunity he has tonight playing with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. So Steven Lorentz plus 900. That's your real deep into the bargain bin look for me here tonight in this game. All right, Anaheim and Washington. We've got the Washington Capitals minus 270. Home favorites here, 6 the total in this game. Good vibes with Anaheim for a lot of us. We all kind of thought they were worth a shot there, getting that plus 400, plus 420 in some spots against Carolina. They got the 3-2 overtime win against the Hurricanes in that game. See if they can follow it up here as this road trip continues. They have this game, and then they go down to Florida for 2, Anaheim, before the end of this road trip. Washington's off a 4-1 road win against the Nashville Predators. See how they fare here. They've been kind of win-loss lately. So if the pattern holds true, is Anaheim live again tonight? I can't do it, though, with John Gibson in net. That's, if it was Dostal, I'm a little bit interested at this price with the Anaheim Ducks tonight. With John Gibson confirmed, not so much. It's Logan Thompson who will be in net here for the Washington Capitals in this game. Washington's won 3 straight head-to-head versus the Anaheim Ducks. We've seen 3-2, 5-4, 2-0 victories in those games. It's a game that don't really have a strong opinion on. Washington, pretty, you're not going to get value anymore, unfortunately, with the Capitals. That was early in the season. So we'll see how it goes. Is Troy Terry back? That's a good question. I'm looking at the updated lineups here for Anaheim, and he is. That's huge. That is huge. He makes a difference for Anaheim. Yeah, this is a pass for me. I'd actually be interested in Anaheim if it was Dostal, but not so much that it isn't. What do you think here, Alex? Ducks, Capitals.
This is a great betcast game, in my opinion. Again,
Yep.
I think we'll be able to get some good looks with that. I'm looking at 5.5 at minus 130 right now. No reason to lay that. We can wait and try and get closer to a pick and price or plus money. Same thing with the first period over. So that's why I'm going to be attacking this. This will be a live bet game.
Don't be talking about our guy Matt Robinson like he's a scrub there, Po Buddy's Nerfect. Even Matt Robinson would score a goal of playing with Marner against the FDNY goalie. That FDNY goalie was friggin' good. Like I said, that he played like a Patrick Waugh that night, Nick Battaglia. So he was damn good. Don't hold that against Matt. Matt, what do you think here, Anaheim, Washington?
So I actually love 2 plays in this game, both prop parlays. 2 guys that are playing on the first power play. They happen to have the same last name because they're related to each other. I'm going to take a Dylan and Ryan Strome anytime goal parlay. I'm seeing it at like plus 1150. And then I'm going to take the same thing on a point for each of them, plus 245. I think, they're both playing well this season. They're both, factors for their team. I know Washington Strome is off the Ovechkin line, but I think they, every time they get together, they want to play well against each other. So I think there's a good prop there.
No doubt. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be a light game for me here. Other than props, there are a couple that I'm interested in. We talk about Jackson Lacombe a bit. Sam Colangelo is still on the top line, probably worth a look. Is Cutter Gauthier heating up? He got 2 goals, including the overtime winner against Carolina. We've been waiting for a hot streak from him. If you buy into it, there's probably some value for him. And for Washington, Tom Wilson, as Jonathan says, has a good track record against Gibson. Connor McMichael, Protas, Dubois, Ovi, of course, who continues to track. Here's one that I like. This kid, Ethan Frank, he's entered the Washington lineup, made his NHL debut against Montreal, played against Nashville. He's got a point in both games. He scored his first NHL goal against Nashville. So how about a little shot with Ethan Frank here tonight for the Washington Capitals as well? All right, Philadelphia, Columbus. We've got Philadelphia minus 120, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Flyers on a back-to-back. I went back and looked. They've not been good on a back-to-back this year. I think 1-5, 1-6, something like that on a back-to-back this year for the Flyers. They're coming off the big win against Florida. And here's Columbus at home where they're disrespected. The only issue I have is, again, like with Detroit, Tarasov is sketchy. That's the word. Sketchy. When it comes to him in net, you don't know what you're going to get half the time. He is confirmed in net. Not like he's a huge down, like Merzlikins can be erratic too, but I think Merzlikins has had some games where he's absolutely stepped up and robbed you. Here's Tarasov since the beginning of November. Goals allowed in his starts: 7, 3, 5, 6, 4. Not very impressive. Not very impressive at all. 4.23 goals against average, 857 save percentage. Isn't over by effective. I've ever seen it. Philadelphia and Columbus. So, and we might get Kolosov. Don't put it off. Fade Kolosov. We might get him in net here for the Philadelphia Flyers. So this is definitely over by fecta all the way. In fact, I might turn this into a trifecta because I could see both teams maybe getting on the board early in the game. I definitely lean Columbus from a side perspective, but I'm going to go specifically with Columbus and their team total over instead of the money line, because I just don't have the confidence in Tarasov, because I can see Philly lighting it up as well. So just the team total that I like the most here with Columbus, and you can get 3.5 at a nice plus 130 on them here in this game. So I think, like I said, worth a shot here. And like I said, the Flyers, yeah, there it is. Jonathan's confirmed it, 1-6, and on the back to, and oh my goodness, the goals and Flyers games on a back-to-back, I think is what that is that he's posted. 9, 9, 7, 5, 6. Holy shit. Well, there you go. Backs up the over by fecta that I like so much here. Alex, what do you think? Flyers, Jackets.
So yeah, this is one where normally at this price in total, 6.5, laying, talk about laying 130 with the over 1.5. I would be waiting on a betcast night, but we're going to split this and go half and half because of those strong trends toward the over. And these are, a pair of goalies, really a set of goalies we don't trust. No matter which of the rotation of the four you have in net, I would be looking over. So, yeah, we'll go over by factor a little bit pregame, but then go a little bit heavier in game.
Morgan Frost, Noah Cates, definitely 2 goal props I like. We used Morgan Frost as a bargain bin last night. He's got 3 in a row now with a goal. So we're going back to the well with Morgan Frost. Noah Cates heating up as well. He had a nice game last night. And then for Columbus, Adam Fantilli. I like the way he's played centering Voronkov and Marchenko with Monahan out. So back to the well with him. How about LDBB? Luca Del Bel Baluz? He scored over the weekend. Good young kid. Played well in the American League before he got called up. So I don't mind taking a shot there either for Columbus. Maddie, what do you think here? Flyers, Jackets?
I'm definitely not going against Columbus. I love goals in this game as well. So this might be a pregame, same game parlay, 1.5, 5.5. It might be right around even money, maybe even like minus 110, just given how high of an over this is. But that might be worth a look pregame, and then it'll obviously be a good game to bet live. But I think I'll throw a couple bucks on Columbus money line at home. They've been a good team. They've been kind of surprising, especially at home. So, the Flyers have put together a couple good games. I saw in the chat, I think after that game against Dallas, they kind of flipped the switch and have played a lot better hockey. But I can't bet against Columbus at home right now. So that'll probably be where I land. And then, it may be a situation where if Columbus goes down 1-0 early, I throw a little extra on them when they're, plus 200. So we'll see. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, definitely should see some goals. We would think so. Like I said, and Columbus, by the way, 4 straight wins. We know how good they've been at home. That's why it's a little peculiar. They're a slight home underdog here. Like I said, I like the money. I lean to the money line too, but I just petrified of Tarasov and what he may not do. So that's why I prefer the team total. And
I would
Dean
look at
Evison needs to be. I was just going to say Dean Evison. We got to start giving him some props. He's done a great job here. Yeah. Murderer eyes, crazy eyes, as I like to call him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. If you like Columbus money lines, this is where that MGM prop comes into play of tying it with the over. You can get plus 130 for Columbus with over 4.5 for the game, plus 200 for over 5.5 of the game. So that's something I might sprinkle. I might go over 5.5 tab with Columbus as the money line look at plus 200 rather than go plus 100 with just Columbus by itself.
No doubt, that's not a bad option. All right, Tampa Bay, Boston. We've got the Lightning minus 140 road favorites, 5.5 the total here, shaded to the over in this game. These teams just played, of course, recently in Tampa last week. Tampa got the win over the Bruins. Bruins were in the system play, and it stayed under both games. Now the rematch here in Boston. Swayman confirmed in net. Major concerns for Boston. They're already without Lindholm on the blue line, and now Charlie McAvoy on IR. And boy, oh boy, man, that's already a blue line that is way down from where it was last year and years before. You're already missing Lindholm. Our guy, Jimmy Murphy's been saying all along how much they miss Hampus Lindholm dearly. And now you take Charlie McAvoy out, and it is a huge gaping hole on that back end now for the Boston Bruins. It means Zadorov and Peak, so that's just not a top pair. It's not. They're hardworking guys. That's not a top pair at the NHL level. It's just not. Parker Wotherspoon, Brandon Carlo, your second pair, Low Rye, and Jordan Osterley on your third pair. Yikes, that's rough. That's tough. Tough to go to war with that kind of a blue line right now, missing. And those are your two best that are now out, McAvoy and Lindholm. We'll see on the we'll see if Boston steps up here. It's funny. I was kind of interested in the Bruins initially because they're off the big win against Florida. Marchand speaks out about the bullshit report about the dissension with him and Pasternak, calls it out, that Rich Keefe guy who should keep his trap shut, and spreading nonsense like that. And they kind of bonded from it, and it kind of rallied them. And they played, they found a way to beat a good Florida team. But boy, I can't back Boston with these injuries on the blue line. That's the two best defensemen. I don't trust them fully to make up for it. So this is a game where I was initially leaning to the Bruins as a home dog. Now I actually lean Tampa, but I don't think I'll be betting the game. Really, either side or total. This is something maybe in the betcast tonight we'll find something. Alex, what do you think here? Lightning, Bruins.
Yeah, so I'll be going split. I have a little bit of first period over -115, but I'll be trying to grab some plus money in game, and then there's a bargain bin selection that I have in this contest. But other than that, like I said, sides and totals is something I would just kind of want to wait and see things play out because of how beaten up that blue line is for Boston.
Not to mention, too, the Lightning are skirting by on the road here. They didn't deserve to win the game against Pittsburgh, but they did because their goalie was really good, Johansson. And even the New Jersey game, we saw they ended up losing to the Devils there in overtime. They are off a loss, but they're not playing dominant hockey on the road. So even against this banged-up blue line of the Bruins, that's why I'm not taking Tampa. What do you think here, Matt? Tampa Bay, Boston?
Likely a pass game for me. Too big of a card. I agree. I sort of lean Tampa because of everything you guys mentioned, but don't really want to lay -140 with them on the road. Not really sure about totals. So this might be a game that we tune in tonight. And, if the pace is there, maybe we jump on a first period over or full game over or something like that. But pregame, nothing here for me.
Yeah. There is one prop I like, Cam Atkinson for Tampa. He's moved up to the second line tonight with Cirelli and with Hagel. So a big opportunity for him tonight. So I like Cam Atkinson. Definitely some value there as far as props go in this one. I would say here's a couple for Boston if you're going to look in this direction. Patra is going to get more of an opportunity. Wallstrom, there's some offensive talent there. He did score the last game. Morgan Geekie on the first line, there's value. And Vinny Lettieri is moving up to the second line for Boston tonight. So there are a couple of value options. It's just a question of are these guys going to end up finding the back of the net. But I really like the Atkinson one here for Tampa Bay. All right, Seattle and Pittsburgh. We've got the Seattle Kraken Pittsburgh rather, -130 home favorites in this game, 6 the total. Seattle's on a crazy first period overrun, so I really, really like the first period over here, Seattle, Pittsburgh in this game. I'm on over by Fecta, but I prefer the first period over with this great Seattle run that they're on. They're on a consecutive game first period over streak. Joey Decord in net for them. Tristan Jarry confirmed for Pittsburgh. As far as the side goes, Pittsburgh actually played very well against Tampa. I know it was 5-2 Lightning, but they outplayed the Lightning. That was a Jonas Johansson game for them. So, like I said, they played better than that. They're off a loss. These are the game spots. Sometimes Pittsburgh steps up and wins, but I'm not laying -130. With them. I forgot to mention with the Boston game, Charlie Coyle, which is another big deal if he doesn't play. Illness, game time decision for the Boston Bruins tonight. We'll see how this one plays out. A lot of people like the Kraken. The thing is, I wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh wins, but I don't like the price. I will never take Pittsburgh as a favorite. Never. It's just not that kind of team I'm laying a price with. So I don't mind people leaning Seattle. I lean that way too. Like I said, 7 straight first period overs for the Kraken. I like the over by Fecta with more emphasis on the first period over. Alex, Kraken, Penguins.
Yes, another split where we'll lay a little bit now at -120, but we'll look for more in game at plus money on that first period over here. Also, we'll be doing the same. I'm just actually going to wait in game for the full game over at 6. We can wait for that 5.5 to drop down.
That's good.
Anything around 125. So that's my look over by Fecta in game.
Excellent. Matt, getting his exercise in. What do you think here? Seattle, Pittsburgh.
Just prepping for that call coming up, but no, not too much for me on this one. I think Pittsburgh can win this game, especially coming off that disappointing loss against Tampa. But I'm with you, Ian. I'm not taking them at minus 130. Not this season. There were years past where minus 130 would be a steal on Pittsburgh, and you take them every time, but not this year. So I think this will probably be a pass game for me pregame, but something I'd be interested in looking at live and in game.
No doubt. All right. As far as props, not too many here. I would just say Jaden Schwartz, Matty Beniers, Capo Caco. That's really been the group that's been really showing some chemistry lately for Seattle. For Pittsburgh, Raquel's been in good form. Bunting is going to play. I know he was in an accident. We'll talk about it too. Montreal player in an accident. I think Bunting, his car accident was as a driver. I think Emil Heinemann's was as a pedestrian on the street.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And my goodness. And that's unfortunate. You know how many times I've mentioned Emil Heinemann and how well he's played on that fourth line for Montreal, which we'll get to when we talk the Habs later in the show. All right, Florida, New Jersey. We've got the Devils minus 150, home favorites, 6 the total here in this one. Another situation where we've got a really big card. We don't have to bet everything. Florida's not one of these teams that I've lost a little confidence in them. It's been a mediocre stretch for them. They've looked like they've not going through the motions, but sometimes you want to play well and do well, and you're just not hitting on all cylinders, and that's Florida right now when I watch them play. Not to mention now you're on a back-to-back after playing Philly last night. New Jersey does have the rest advantage. Spencer Knight in net, who actually, after some struggles when he first got the opportunities in between the pipes, he's been a little bit better lately. In fact, he's given up 3 goals or less in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's won 2 of his last 3 starts against Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. We'll see if that carries over to this game. He played really, really well against the Pittsburgh Penguins when they beat Pittsburgh back on January the 3rd. Definitely, I see some value in this price with Florida, but back-to-back, kind of a little malaise right now with this Panthers team. My hope is maybe New Jersey scores early, and then we'll get a better price on the betcast with Florida. Then I get interested. What do you think here, Alex? Panthers, Devils.
Yeah, this is a draw that I like. I grabbed plus 320 at Bet Online, which is the best price available. I've seen a lot of books that are right at the 300 line or even below plus 300. So shop around. You do not want to go below 300 threshold with that draw.
We do have 2 7:30 Eastern games tonight, which is great. So not everything is at 7 Eastern. We got a couple games while the others are at intermission, which is good to see. You don't always get that. Matt, what do you think here, Florida, New Jersey?
This is a tough one. Definitely not laying minus 150 on New Jersey. I do have trust issues with Florida as well, and they are on the back-to-back. So I was looking at series history. I mean, they've had some 6-2, 6-7 games in their last 10, but then they've also had, some 4-1 games. So I think this would be a game that I would look at the overs, but it'll be something I'll look at live. I kind of want to see the pace. If it looks like there's going to be some goals coming, that might be worth a look a couple minutes into the game. But pregame, probably nothing for me here, except maybe a prop I'll mention here in a few.
All right, it's going to become the Matt Robinson portion right now of the Ice Guys show, because we're going to roll through just the remaining games rapid fire with him because he's got to go for a work call in a few minutes. Ottawa Senators, New York Islanders. We've got the Islanders minus 120 home favorites, 5.5 the total. Levi Marilainen, the Finnish young phenom netminder. I won't phenom, but he's playing well for Ottawa lately. Continues to give them a chance to win every night. Probably going to see him in net tonight. Let's see. Let me see if I get the confirmation here. Yes, it is him again. It's what I expected. Matt, what do you think here? Sens Islanders.
This one's tough for me because, I think Ottawa's playing great hockey right now. I think they're definitely worth a look at plus 100, but the Islanders, I think I saw are on a 4-game heater as well. They've been playing some good hockey. I think if anything in this game pregame, I'd be looking at unders, which, I don't typically bet, but I could see this being like a 2-1, 3-1 type game. So maybe an under here, but I might wait till live on this one just because it's, under 5.5 is a low one.
Vancouver Canucks, Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg minus 160, home favorites, 5.5 the total. Matt, what do you think?
That's a total pass game for me. I have the rest of these written down, so I'll just go rapid fire. But yeah, this is a pass for me pregame. I'd lean Winnipeg, but I don't want to lay minus 160. I could see it being an under, but yeah, not too sure on this one.
Calgary Flames, St. Louis Blues. Blues minus 170, 5.5 the total.
This is a rare draw play for me. I rarely, am a pregame draw guy, but I think this is two teams that are kind of battling, for that late spot in the West. St. Louis is playing well. Calgary, when Wolves and Nets playing lights out. So I think this could be a case for a draw.
All right, draw for Matt there with Calgary, St. Louis. All right, Vegas, Nashville. I know your beloved Golden Knights. Kidding. Vegas minus 130, road favorite, 6 the total.
So I'm just gonna keep it simple and take the first period over in this one. I think there's offensive capabilities on both ends. I don't really trust Vegas on the road. Even at plus 110, don't really trust Nashville against a good team like Vegas. So I'm just hoping for 2 goals early in this one.
All right, there we go. 2 games left. Montreal Canadiens, Utah Hockey Club. These are both at 9 Eastern, these last 2 games. Utah minus 150, home favorite, 6 the total.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on first period full game overs in this one, the over by Fecta. I know the Montreal-Dallas game was low scoring, but, Montreal has, they've got the young talent to get some goals. Goal Caulfield obviously is always worth a look, but I think Utah's offense is kind of coming together and clicking a little better as well. So going to try and jump on first period full game over. I'm going to see if there's a 5.5. I may do the same game parlay here to make sure I get that 5.5.
There we go. All right, last game with Matt here. New York Rangers, Colorado Avalanche. Colorado minus 150, home favorite, 6.5 the total.
This is a pass game for me pregame. Just not a ton of value. I lean Colorado at home. New York's had their struggles all season, but don't want to lay minus 150. Their goal totals, not cheap either. So this might be something I look for, some late live bets, but nothing on this one for me pregame.
All right, good stuff. There we go. How about that for rapid fire with our guy, Matt Robinson? Before we let him run, bargain bin special of the night, Matt. What do you got?
It's Tuesday. There's a Patreon exclusive betcast. I was able to join the show. I got to stick with it. I see it's back to plus 300. He's still on the first line there in New Jersey. We're going to go with Stefan Nason. Yeah, Stefan Nason, anytime goal tonight. We'll see if we get one while we're live on the Patreon exclusive betcast tonight.
It's not. Don't think does he have to pick him again? Do you see what the way he's played when he's been on the show and the Devils have played that same night? It's been crazy how often he's scored. And if you're getting plus 300 or better, why not? So a shocker of all shockers, Stefan Nason, New Jersey Devils, plus 300 for Matt Robinson with his bargain bin special tonight. And your best bet for this card, Matt, what do you got?
Best bet, we're going to head out to, I actually don't know where the game is. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're going to head out to Motown, Detroit, San Jose Sharks. Detroit's been on an absolute heater. Georgiev is confirmed in net for San Jose. Give me the Detroit team total over 3.5. I just need them to get to 4. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it in the first period again like they did the other night. So give me Detroit team total over 3.5. That's my best bet for tonight. And looking forward to the betcast.
There you go. Detroit team total over 3.5. Best bet for Matt Robinson. All right, Matt, great stuff. You hit it out of the park as always. We'll see you tonight for the live betcast.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks again for having me as usual. And looking forward to tonight. Hope everyone gets some good bets in. We'll see how long my call goes. Maybe I'll jump in the chat towards the end if you guys are still rolling. So
absolutely.
See all you guys tonight. Cheers.
See you tonight, my friend.
Cheers.
All right, there he is, the one and only Plano, Texas's finest, Matty Robinson. With Ryan Robinson's right there as 2 of Plano, Texas's fine. We don't want to sound like we're slighting Ryan at all. All right, let's get back to our business. We'll go back around and pick up where we left off. Was there anything I wanted to add about the last game we were talking about?
Ottawa and Islanders, right?
It was Florida, New Jersey.
Oh, Florida, right? Yeah.
That one. As far as I feel like, Stefan Nason, it goes without saying. I mean, why not? I mean, certainly, plus, especially if you're going to get him plus 300. I will say this: Paul Cotter, Dawson Mercer. I think there's some value there. And for Florida, we talked about Jesper Boquist. On that third line, making some things happen. So those are a couple of props I'd be interested in there in that game. All right, Ottawa Senators, New York Islanders. Islanders minus 120, home favorites, 5.5. The total here in this game. Matt, alluded to it when he talked about this game. Both teams are actually in some good form right now. Yes, even the New York Islanders are in a little bit better form the last few games. They ended their road trip with 3 wins. Actually, they won all 3 games in Boston. Then they went out west, shut out the Vegas Golden Knights in a stunner, 4-0, and then they beat Utah 2-1 after that. So 3 straight wins for Patrick Waugh and the New York Islanders. Now they come back home, face the Ottawa Senators. An Ottawa Senators team that has struggled against the Islanders, losing 1-4 of the last 5. However, the one win was here in Long Island, a 4-3 overtime win, or here in UBS Arena. They don't play on Long Island anymore, Elmont, New York now. But definitely, 4-3 Island Senators in overtime at UBS Arena last year, the last meeting. We've seen the games in New York between these teams, 4-3, 3-2, 3-2. 2 of them have gone past regulation. I like what I'm seeing out of Levy, Merrill-Linen. The young kid has played very well for the Ottawa Senators. He has certainly taken over the net from Anton Forsberg with Linus Ullmark out. It wouldn't shock me to see him play well tonight. I don't know what we're going to get from Marcus Hogberg here Hogberg, I should say, here for the New York Islanders. I know his numbers are really solid, but he's only had a couple of starts this year. He stopped three goals against on 41 shots against Pittsburgh, and then he was very good against Utah when he started against the hockey club over the weekend, only giving up 1 goal. But that's a very small sample size here in this game going into this game for Marcus Hogberg. I think Ottawa's still the better team. They beat him here last year. I'm taking Ottawa plus 100, and I'm going to sprinkle on the draw here in this game as well. Sends and draw for me. I actually think this could be an under. Matt mentioned the under. It could be because Merrill-Linen's in good form. Hogberg, you could see him maybe playing well again. So, like I said, but for me, sends and draw. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa Senators, New York Islanders.
Yeah, I grabbed the draw plus 320. Bet Online has the best available price for this game as well. It's in 310 at BetMGM, 300 and lower at some other books. So definitely shop around. But I think this could be a close one. Like I said, maybe a low and slow kind of a game too. So I wouldn't, mind maybe a 2-2 or 3-3 sprinkle in the draw.
Yeah, no doubt. Prop wise, going into this game here, obviously with the New York Islanders, Siplikov, on the second line might be worth a look for them. For Ottawa, finally dropped Ridley Gregg in the lineup, but Pinto's been scoring for them. Drake Batherson's on a roll. Josh Norris, I think, is someone that might be starting to show signs of heating up. Stützle's obviously been very good lately, but he scored against Dallas, breaking a bit of a funk for him. He can be kind of streaky. I could see Josh Norris maybe being someone that's able to light the lamp here tonight for the Ottawa Senators in this game. I usually like that. You've talked about this for years, how we like back in the goal scorer props with players that have been slumping, and then they kind of bust out of it. And maybe that's going to be the case here tonight for Josh Norris. All right, Vancouver, Winnipeg. We've got Winnipeg minus 150, home favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the under. We don't see this very often, do we, Alex? We've got a 5.5, and we've got it shaded to the under this heavily. Under 5.5, minus 140, and I totally get it. Winnipeg at home has been a defensive stalwart. We've talked about that all year. And certainly you're going to see Connor Hellebuck get the nod in net. Kevin Lankinen for Vancouver, who continues to be excellent, especially
not Luongo. This isn't the Luongo start with a 5.5 shaded to the under. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way, but yeah, this is under or pass for me, and I don't say that very often, but this feels 2-1, 3-1, 3-2 all over it here with the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. Lankinen's form has been outstanding, as I've mentioned, on the road. Hellebuck's form, period, and the Winnipeg defensive form at home has been really strong. From a side perspective, I'm interested in Vancouver here a little bit, just because of the fact that, they got the win that they needed desperately to stop the bleeding, stop the hemorrhaging against the Leafs. It was a really solid road effort. Lankinen on the road has been good enough that you're always tempted when you're talking this kind of a price range here for the Vancouver Canucks, plus 135, plus 140. Sprinkle for me on Vancouver pregame. Maybe add to it if they fall behind, but I'm going to sprinkle pregame on Vancouver. Just get that gut feel that they build off what they did against Toronto. What do you think here, Alex? And at least compete here against Winnipeg. What do you think here in this one, Canucks Jets?
This is going to be a complete pass for me pregame. I'm going to wait for the bet cast and look for some spots to jump in on. So I'm just going to keep this one clean sheet early.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, Winnipeg, plus Winnipeg off that 3-0 shutout as well. It's important to point that out, that big shutout against the Colorado Avalanche. I'm not saying a letdown because you're still playing, a team, it's a rival. But like I said, there's reasons at this price that I'm interested here, at least for a small bet on Vancouver. And then as far as props for this game, like I say, I think for Vancouver, we've seen a little bit of shifting in their lineup, in their line combinations of late. That's the one I was thinking of. He struggled this year mightily, but they're going to give him a chance with JT Miller and Connor Garland, and that's Nils Höglander. Like, he has got sitting on 2 goals this year. So this is definitely a leap of faith if you're betting this guy to score a goal. But definitely, I think up to the second line, going to get at least an opportunity here. For Winnipeg, we've talked about how Velarde's been great lately. I wouldn't argue with going back to the well. And as Nino Niederreiter, 3 goals in 6 games versus Lankinen, says Jonathan. So there's another example of someone having a particularly good track record against a certain starting goaltender. All right, Calgary and St. Louis. We've got St. Louis minus 170, home favorites, 5.5 the total. Shaded to the over in this game. Calgary with the big win last night in Chicago. Very solid victory for the Flames in that game. 5-2 victory in Chicago. Back-to-back for them. St. Louis, certainly well-rested. 2 days off following a 2-1 loss at home to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Twice to Columbus, once at Minnesota, and of course, we're able to beat Anaheim 6-2 at home. Blues have owned this series going back to January 2022. It's an 8-1 run for the St. Louis Blues in the last 9 meetings versus the Calgary Flames. I like St. Louis here. This feels like a great spot. We've got the inferior. He's not terrible, obviously, and he can be good. He can steal a game too. But right now, Darth Vladar is not nearly as good as Dustin Wolf. It's that simple. Jordan Binnington in net here for St. Louis. They've got the rest advantage. I'm going to go with St. Louis here. First period puck line split with full game puck line. A little bit on the team total over 3.5 as well for St. Louis. So I'm splitting it up 3 ways: a first period puck line, a full game puck line, and a St. Louis Blues team total over 3. It's just such a great spot. They've got the rest advantage. They're off a home loss to Columbus. Calgary's coming in on a back-to-back. And I know they beat Chicago last night. The road record is still not great overall this season for the Calgary Flames. So really, really strong spot for the Blues. Hopefully they don't fuck it up. What do you think here, Alex? Calgary, St. Louis.
Yeah, the Hawks mentally beat themselves in that game early against Calgary. That was the reason why it ended up being 5-2. That score was quite misleading. In my opinion. The Flames, like I said, still kind of a mess on the road, and they've been a mess. They've lost, 1-3 in the second back-to-backs. So you have that tied in with a strong history with St. Louis. I'm going St. Louis regulation, and I might add a little bit of that team total on as well.
Yeah, Holloway, why not? Because when they win, he usually scores for the St. Louis Blues, so definitely interested in that. Won't you be my neighbor? Jake Neighbors is playing with Thomas and Buchnevich. Again, slight bump up the lineup, so I think it's a Jake Neighbors kind of night. Kind of feels that way right now for the St. Louis Blues tonight in this game. For Calgary, Hubert, we've talked same guys for Calgary, Huberdeau, Coronado. Maybe not tonight because I don't know how much Calgary is going to score back-to-back. St. Louis will probably come in here really focused. But that Peltier, Sharon, Govich, Rory, Cairns line, which was put together, Cairns ended up, called up to the team, and he's on the third line. They had some good chemistry last night against Chicago. And, of course, Peltier had a great game. Peltier could be a really good player. We've just been waiting for consistency out of him. But, yes, Jacob Peltier, certainly. Goal prop consideration for sure for me tonight in this one. And that's a good stat there, too, with the Flames. All their 3 back-to-backs this year, they've lost by 2 goals or more, which means it's not crazy for me to be looking at that St. Louis puck line here tonight, which I don't bet many, as you know. Vegas and Nashville. Vegas minus 130 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I like Vegas here. I wouldn't lay more than this, but certainly I think they're favored on the road for a reason. I don't trust Nashville fully. Nashville's just and plus Vegas, they finally snapped out of their little malaise with the win against Minnesota to end their homestand after losing to the Islanders and then to the Rangers back to back. it's not good. I think they're not just going to think, yeah, we got the win to end the homestand. We're going to slough off now starting a road trip. You got to build on that. I know he put the stat there, Jonathan, in the chat earlier, that they've dominated the West. All their bad games and their clunkers and all their eggs that they've laid, they've pretty much been against the Eastern Conference teams this year, Vegas. But when they've played the West teams, they've certainly been solid. I know Eichel is likely out for this game day-to-day. Remember, he didn't play Sunday. Doesn't mean he's out for sure yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But a game-time decision is probably what we'll see about him with the illness. I think still it's a pretty cheap price for Vegas. Vegas has played some better hockey on the road lately as well. So, yeah, anything -1. I wouldn't lay much more than this, but at -130 or better, it's still Vegas for me. Alex, what do you think? Golden Knights, Predators.
Yeah, I guess the only important wins against the East are the 4 wins you get in June, right? That's the way that Vegas is kind of looking at it. But they're taking care of business in the West, and that's the important thing. So I would take a shot here with Vegas. This is one that I would maybe grab a little bit of regulation pregame and then try and look for some angles and stuff in game, like I said, the end later in the night. We can kind of have a little fun with these last few games. So that's the way I'm going to play. I'm going to have a little bit of Vegas regulation in pocket, and then look to add on something in game as well.
Yeah, as far as Jonathan Marchessault, of course, I'm always interested in a good player against his old team. And Marchessault, who, of course, he's 14 goals, 17 assists, been a okay. So, he was really red hot at the end of December. He's kind of cooled off. He hasn't scored yet here in the month of January in 4 games, but he does have 4 assists here in the month of January. And tonight he'll want to pot one against his old team. So I don't mind the John Masserol look here as far as goal props here. That never gets old. Don Cherry calling him John Masserol. He had some dandy mispronunciations and name butcherings. That's right at the top of the list. To me, there's 2 clear-cut Hall of Fame, best 2 Don Cherry butcher name butchers, name mispronunciations in his run on Coach's Corner. Jonathan Marchessault, him calling him John Masserol is one, and the other is, of course, our guy, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Oliver Lossum Tossum. It doesn't, when he gets confused with Rock'em Sock'em, his old video series back in the day, Oliver Lossum Tossum. Oh, man, what a run that was. All right, Montreal. Those are epic. All right, Montreal and Utah. We've got the Utah Hockey Club -150 home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Montreal going back on the road here. Sam Montembeault, Karel Vejmelka, your confirmed goaltending matchup. We don't have goalies yet for that Vegas-Nashville game, by the way. It's Samsonov and Saros that are projected, but neither one is confirmed as of yet. But as far as this game, it is Montembeault and Vejmelka here in this game. You know what we're doing. We're riding Montreal +130. Terrific run for them. Playing their best hockey of the season. Certainly not afraid to go against Utah at home as a bigger favorite, and a Utah team that, as we've talked about all year, they've struggled to really make Delta Center a true home ice advantage for them. When you're losing games to the New York Islanders at home, that's not good. So, yeah, Montreal +130. That's really about it. Utah's on an under run right now, 4 straight unders. Montreal, believe it or not, since one of the reasons Montreal's winning a lot of games lately, 7-3 in their last 10 games, is because they're not only scoring, but they're playing much better defensively. They're getting key goaltending, and that's been important. So, yeah, we've been on Montreal a bunch. We'll take them again here, +130. This could be a draw, though. I think this could still be competitive, and Montreal's been a bit of a draw magnet. 4 straight have gone past regulation. So I think I got to sprinkle on the draw when I see that. Habs draw for me, kind of like the Ottawa game. I'm on Sens draw there. Sens and draw, Habs and draw for me here. What do you think, Alex? Montreal, Utah.
Right there with the old dog and draw split here. We got to take Habs and then draw. I got +310 and BetMGM is the best price available.
Yeah, perfect way to bet this game, I think. Good chance we cash one of them. I could see maybe Utah sneaks it out in overtime or a shootout. But definitely, I think it's going to be competitive. I don't think Montreal will run away with it, but Montreal, that's this price with the way they're playing, they're certainly the team in better form. It's worth a look. And yes, Emil Heineman with this accident, so certainly upset to hear that. Out 3 to 4 weeks minimum. He was involved in a traffic accident, not as a driver, as a pedestrian. Some guy runs into him when he's walking down the street. I mean, just terrible to hear that. But and I've talked about Emil Heineman a bunch of times on this show and how well he has played this year on the 4th line for the Montreal Canadiens. So it's unfortunate to hear that happen to him. No question. As far as goal props, and they will miss him. It looks like it's going to be Michael Pezzetta on that fourth line with Evans and Armia for Montreal tonight. For goal props, Slavkovsky's starting to percolate. I don't mind taking a shot with him for scoring a goal tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. Lionel, Doc, and Newhook on the second line. Lionel has certainly enhanced the power play just like that since he's been back, no doubt. For the Utah Hockey Club, I'm still going to go back to the well one more time at least with Josh Doan, simply because he's playing up there on the second line for them. All right, our last game of this massive Tuesday card, which is a prelude to a massive betcast tonight, which we cannot wait for. Rangers and Avs. We've got Colorado minus 150, home favorite, 6.5 the total here in this game. Are the Rangers starting to come out of their slumber? Because they've certainly had a better run the last few games. They've won 3 of their last 4 of their last 6, and beaten, a couple of good teams in a row. New Jersey with a 3-2 home win in overtime, 2-1 in Vegas over the weekend. They took Dallas to overtime, 5-4 at home. So signs of life here from the New York Rangers as they take care of business, or as they are starting to play some better hockey. My first thought was take Colorado here. They're off the 3-0 loss to Winnipeg, but you got to lay minus 150. And I'm willing to give the Rangers a little bit of due here because we have started to see them win. We've started to see them put some better efforts together, some better performances together. And if the Rangers can, and I don't know if they will, and I'm not ready to say that yet, but if the Rangers can somehow morph into a team closer to the way they played last year and 2 years ago, and we're seeing just a few small signs of it in their recent games, then there is going to be great value in betting on the New York Rangers in the next few days and few weeks. If they show that they can sustain this little bump that they have had here in the last few games. And I don't want to go against that, because if the Rangers continue to string good days together, Alex, then they are absolutely an undervalued commodity right now. And that is why I'm staying off taking Colorado here. I want to wait and see. It's a great betcast game. Let's see how the Rangers look, see what the Avs do coming off the loss to Winnipeg. But you know what I am on, and you know what it is. Shutout loss for Colorado. Their last game against Winnipeg, over by Fecta for me, over 1.5, over 6.5 here. Now, the last time I think the Rangers were involved in one of these, it did not go over the total, but it's the system play, and the system play is the system play. So over 1.5 and over 6.5 for me here with Rangers and Avs. Actually, you know what? Shop around. A couple books do have 6 shaded to the over, and a couple of the books that I use. So hopefully you can find a 6, even if not 6.5 for the full game with the system play. I like it. What do you think here, Alex? Final game, New York Rangers, Colorado Avalanche.
Well, like I said, once again, being a late night game, this is one where we can target the system play, but I'm going to be doing that in game. So I'm going to go full game and first period overs, but I'll be waiting in game to try and get a little bit cheaper of a price.
Nothing wrong with that, especially with the betcast taking place tonight. Shesterkin for the Rangers, Mackenzie Blackwood for the Avs. This might be a little smaller unit system play, quite honestly, because look, Shesterkin's finally had a couple of really good starts in a row. We know Blackwood's been excellent for Colorado, so I might be I'm certainly betting the system play over by Fecta, but might keep the units a little bit lower on it here. As far as props for the Rangers, I'm telling you, if you're going to bet Ranger players, stay away from, Panarin and Zibanejad and guys like that. Go for Cooley. Go for even that fourth, like Adam Edstrom scored the other night. Kaliev, is in the lineup now, the guy they got from the LA Kings. And so, definitely, like I said, he's someone that's going to be looking to make an impact with another opportunity here to try to further his NHL career. So again, Arthur Kaliev getting the nod here for the New York Rangers in the lineup. Looks like he's going to be on the third line for them here tonight. Lafreniere starting to heat up too. So, and then for Colorado, like I said, with them, I'm always interested in Drouin with McKinnon and Rantanen. Colton Middlestat and Lehkonen have been a solid unit. That second line together for them. So any one of those three, no arguments with maybe looking in those directions with Colorado here tonight. And speaking of the Kings, talking about Kaliev coming over from the Kings, got around finally last night. It was a light night at the end of the night to watching, and I was not shocked that he came across this way. Andrei Kopitar's interview on Spittin' Chicklets from last week's show. Just exactly what I expected. Just a truly great human. You can tell he is. Andrei Kopitar, not only a Hall of Famer, surefire Hall of Famer, in the future. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's had an unbelievable career, multi-year Stanley Cup champion, incredible two-way forward. But you can tell he's a Hall of Fame person. That was a great interview. Humble, down to earth, not a lick of arrogance or just, bragging or cockiness in him. That was a great interview. And he doesn't do many of those type of things on Jay Kopitar because he's a pretty quiet guy. But you can tell just, I always thought what a hell of a player he was. And just from afar, you think he conducts himself well. He's probably a great dude. And that interview cements it. Humble, down to earth, really good, genuine, good human on Jay Kopitar. So that was a great interview. I enjoyed that. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You know what I also enjoy? Tonight's Betcast. I will absolutely enjoy that. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, and more. And of course, again, daily betting cards, sides, totals, and player props posted every day on the Patreon page. And of course, our live Betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's our first Betcast of the new year. And it is our first exclusive Patreon live betcast of the season, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. So make sure you sign up, $10 per month. It's the only way to tune into the betcast and also joining us on the stream. You got to be a Patreon member. So $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store. That's iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Today is the last day to get free standard shipping. It goes all the way until midnight Eastern. So just hit the redeem button at the top of the page, add your items in at checkout, which, by the way, we do have some items that have been with the reduced pricing as well. So take advantage of that as well. But then that free standard shipping will be taken out at checkout. That's until midnight Eastern tonight. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Just a massive card to choose from, 13 games. Alex, where are you headed for the bargain bin tonight?
Yeah, we're looking at that Tampa Bay Boston game, and I like goals early in that contest, and I think person who'll get the first goal of the game is Morgan Geekie. I've noticed that he's had a trend of being the first Boston player to score in some of these contests of late. You get him plus 2,200 to get the first goal of the game, available at FanDuel. So that's Morgan Geekie. And we'll also take a shot with him to get anytime goal. That's plus 360 at FanDuel as well. So we can give you a double on Morgan Geekie. Anytime goal, plus 360, and first goal of the game, plus 2,200. Both available at FanDuel.
There you go. Morgan Geekie, Boston Bruins. Anytime goal, plus 360. First goal, 22-1. Holy mackerel. Great prices. Morgan Geekie, Boston Bruins for Alex B. Smith and his bargain bin special of the night. Well, last night I gave you 2 bargain bin specials on a 3-game card. I might as well give you 2 on a 13-game card, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. 2 bargain bin specials tonight. The first one is going to be Cam Atkinson for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I like the opportunity for him up there on the second line tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Against the Boston Bruins. And again, a very good price that you're going to get with him in that game tonight. So again, Cam Atkinson for the in that game, I think is definitely worth a look. And again, he's going to play with Hagel and Cirelli. So you're talking about, like I said, real big opportunity for him playing alongside, two players that have had great chemistry for Tampa Bay on that second line. So we'll see what the I'm sorry, I got the the bet stamp is taking a bad time right now. Bet stamp to not go through, but we're going to see if we can take a look here at the prices. But I'll get it for you in a moment here with Cam Atkinson for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But he will be in the bargain bin variety. But the other one is Steven Lorentz for the Toronto Maple Leafs, plus 900 at Caesars, the best price there. Love this price. The opportunity he's going to get playing with Matthews and Marner on the top line tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So definitely, I think, worth a bet there as far as goal prop for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He works hard. Now, he hasn't always finished his chances, but boy, I think he's got an opportunity here to be able to finish them here tonight against playing with, obviously, two incredible forwards up front like Matthews and Marner. So that's where I'm going to go. Plus 900 for Steven Lorentz for the Toronto Maple Leafs for bargain bin special of the night. And it's plus 550 for Cam Atkinson with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll go with that. Plus 550 Tampa Bay. There we go. Odd stamp was down for a moment there when I was trying to shop around for the best price on that. So there you go. 550 for Atkinson, plus 900 Steven Lorentz at Caesars, which is just an incredible price on that. Now, there might be some adjustments with Lorentz because maybe some of the books are realizing he's going to be a top-line player tonight because some have plus 600 at DraftKings, 550 at Bet365, 460 at FanDuel. So make sure you shop around. But Caesars has 900, which is just outstanding for Steven Lorentz here tonight. All right, best bets, Alex. By the way, Stefan Nason, New Jersey, plus 300. Matt Robinson's best bet. And Detroit team total over 3.5. Matt Robinson's best bet. Detroit team total over 3.5 is bargain bin special. Stefan Nason, New Jersey, plus 300. Best bets, Alex. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, give me St. Louis in regulation minus $1.05 is the price I got to bet online. They've had a hot run against Calgary. Calgary has been awful in the second of back-to-backs. So give me the Blues as my Tuesday best bet.
All right, good stuff. St. Louis in regulation, best bet for Alex B. Smith. This is the Captain Obvious best bet that I'm using. San Jose, Detroit over 5.5, minus 120. I mean, you're going to give me that kind of a total with Georgiev and Husso. And obviously, Detroit's on a roll offensively. But I'd expect San Jose to chip in some goals, too. I like both teams to go over their team total in that game. So obviously, I like the full game over. And that's what I'll go with for best bet. San Jose, Detroit over 5.5, minus 120. For my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL slate. The Betcast is tonight. Make sure you join us as a Patreon member. The only way to tune in and join us, $10 per month. Get to patreon.com/IceGuys and sign up now. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and good luck. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern for the Patreon exclusive live Betcast.